Hi there, it's October the 13th, and we're commencing today a new book in the Greek scriptures. This is Paul's second letter to the Thessalonians. We saw in 1st Thessalonians that Paul is writing to a church he's familiar with in the north of Greece, in Macedonia. It was the second church that he founded after Philippi, the second church on the mainland of Europe. We also saw that he encountered great contradiction from the Jewish community there, who were unhappy about what Paul was speaking, and they attacked Jason, and so we know that there was trouble at the church in Thessaloniki as it's called, or Saloniki in Greek. And Paul is writing again this second letter to the Thessalonians, and he's writing, it seems as though the letter is being written because there's been some confusion. It may have been sown through his first letter about the day of the coming of the Lord. Remember that in the first letter, Paul talks about the resurrection from the dead. He talks about Jesus coming on the clouds. And it seems to be, from what Paul says later in the letter, that there's been maybe some confusion sown, or some people saying that the day of the Lord has already happened, which we'll come on to when we read a later part. But here in the opening, there are a lot of similarities with 1 Thessalonians. So Paul is writing, and he includes Silas, or Silvanos in Greek, and Timothy. He's writing the three of them. He's in a team, if you like, writing this. We assume it's written not long after the first letter to the Thessalonians, and Paul is writing, as I say, to maybe correct some confusion or contradictions in things that have been picked up in Thessalonica. So he greets them in the normal way, with grace and peace. He commends them. Paul is very good at commending the churches, and particularly he mentions the sufferings that they have been going through. And actually he is saying that God is going to use these sufferings, and also he's going to pay back these sufferings when Jesus appears at the last day. We may have some questions about this, about the idea of Jesus judging and of repaying for the sufferings that have been caused to his people at the last day. But remember that every one of us has a sense of justice. Everyone has a sense of wanting to see the injustice vindicated, someone who's done wrong to vindicate it. And so Paul is just saying that he is trusting that there will be a setting of the accounts straight when Jesus comes again, so that Jesus is going to be a fearsome appearance to those who have rejected him, but to those who are waiting for his coming, it will be a joy. And so Paul is praying for his friends in Thessalonica that they will continue to be worthy of the call of God, that they will continue to stand fast in the armour of God that he's given to them, and that they will show God's power through their faith that they have in him, so that Jesus' name may continue to be glorified. So we pick up in this first chapter of Thessalonians this continuing story, and as I say, Paul is going to take it further in correcting some of the misunderstandings that there have been from his first letter. It's great to see that Paul carries this great concern of heart for his friends, his great desire to make sure that they understand what God is saying about their future. May we also be constantly applying ourselves to have insight and to understand, have wisdom about what God has planned for us, especially on the days when things are tough and we suffer. Have a very good October the 13th.